We have already understood that an economy is a system. It is a social system. So it is a social system much very similar to a music system, a computer system. If you open a music system, if you open a computer system, we learned in the previous class that they have different components, and no matter which music system you open up, they may look different, but the components are always similar. So similarly, in an economic system, there are some basic components within an economic system, and these basic components are called basic entities of an economic system. And an economic entity is understood by the economic activities that they undertake. So if you want to recognize whether a particular economic entity is a consumer or a producer or a government, you just have to find out what they are doing. So according to the activity that they do, we will come to understand whether an economic entity is a consumer or a producer or a government or a household. So once more, the basic economic entities in an economy are those basic components in an economic system which are defined by the different economic activities that they undertake. And there are four basic entities in an economy. They are called consumers, producers, government, and household. Now let us look at each one of them one at a time. First and foremost, consumers. Consumers undertake the economic activity of consumption or use the goods and services that are produced in the economy. And consumers can both be individuals and institutions. In other words, consumers are defined by the economic activity of consumption. They are engrossed in the activity of using the goods and services that are produced in the economy. Now a consumer can both be a person like you and me, our parents, or they can be an institution like Sacred Heart School is a consumer when we buy goods and services from the market. Electricity board could be a consumer. They could be buying all the steel cables to put up the electricity lines. A bank could also be a consumer because banks will require computers, they require desks and chairs. So when they go over to buy these items, they will also be called a consumer. A producer, on the other hand, are those economic entities that procure the factors of production and use them to produce goods and services. The producer's purpose is to produce. Their activity is the act of production. And in order to produce, they will be bringing together things which we call factors of production. These are land, labor, capital, and enterprise, and using them, they use it to produce goods and services. The third entity is the government. The government is that particular economic entity which has the activity of regulating and administering all other economic activities in the economy. The meaning of the word regulate means control. Administer means to check that all things are working properly and to oversee that nothing is going wrong. The government also looks after the law and order and formulates the policies for the economic system. If you look at the diagram below you, you will see the different activities that are undertaken by a government. You can pause the presentation and just study the different functions of the government for 5 to 10 minutes. The fourth economic entity is a household. The household has two simple activities. A household supplies the factors of production and receives the payment for the factors of production from the producers. They use the payment received to procure goods and services for consumption. Household and consumers look very similar. However, they are different from consumers, as consumers do not supply factors of production.